I know that means perpendicular. How can I tell if something's perpendicular? What formula do I use?
Perpendicular formula?
There's not a perpendicular formula. What do I use? How do I prove if something's parallel? I use what formula? Slope. So, what does perpendicular? I'm going to use slope for this. What's perpendicular look like, guys? So slopes, it looks like their slopes are the same if it's parallel. Perpendicular, do we remember what it looks like? Opposite reciprocals. What is an opposite reciprocal? So if I wanted to make an opposite reciprocal of 3, what would I do? What would it be? What would an opposite reciprocal of 3 be? Yes, Justin? Negative 1/3. You flip it and you change the sign. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of do 6 distance formulas, which you could totally do, you would still get the right answer, we're going to do 4 distance formulas and 4 slopes. What do you want to do first, slope or distance? No preferences?
No.
Okay, let's do slope first. Do you want to use the slope formula or you just want to count in the graph since we have a graph? Count in the graph? Okay, let's list our slopes. We've got AB, BC, CD, and AD. Okay, so the slope from A to B. So I'm looking at B and I'm going up 2 over 2. So 2 over 2 gives me what? 1. What would be the opposite reciprocal of 1? Negative 1. Okay, so let's look. We want AD to have a negative 1 slope. So let's go down. We go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 5. Negative 5 over 5 gives us 1. So I know AB and AD are perpendicular to each other. Okay, what would CD be? CD, I go up from C, 1, 2 over 2. 2 over 2 gives me 1. What do you think BC is going to be? Negative 5 over 5 or 5 over negative 5? Let's look. B to C, I go down negative 5 over positive 5. That gives me negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to list right here to the side that AB is perpendicular to BC and AD, and that CD is perpendicular to BC and AD. Which sides are parallel to each other? BC and AD are parallel. And which other two are parallel? AB is parallel to CD. Okay, so we've proved opposite sides are congruent, and we've proved opposite sides are parallel. What have we proved so far that this is? Parallelogram, right? So we've got to use those distance formulas to prove that it is, those sides are congruent. We've proved that they're perpendicular, so it can't be a parallelogram now. But we've got to prove opposite sides are congruent in order to prove it's a rectangle. Okay, so let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I know you're sick of the distance formula. We're going to do a lot more of it, so get ready. We're going to do 4 right now. I'm going to rewrite the numbers at the top. We've got A is negative 1, 4. B is negative 3, 2. C is 2, negative 3. And D is 4, negative 1. Okay? We've got 4 points. We're going to do 4 distance formulas. Again, you've got to make sure you can do this, guys. So you should be plugging it in the calculator along with me, because this will be on your test and on your next quiz. Okay? A, B. I'm going to do this one in black so you can tell the difference between the colors. We've got x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to set it up. I'm going to say y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 4, squared, plus x2, which is negative 3, minus a negative 1, which is x1 squared.
You do it?
Yep. I'm going to write it on the board, I believe, because I think that's the best place so it can be permanent no matter what I move it to. Okay, so right here, that's y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. You need to write that on your vocab, though, because it will not be on the board for your test or quiz. Okay, so we just put this in our calculator. Excuse me? Is that what you get? Let's do it for 3 decimal places. Can you do it for 3? 2.83 it should be, because we're rounding up. 2.83. Okay, next one I'm going to do in blue, I'm going to do B to C. The square root, we've got B, I'm going to do x1, y1. C is x2, y2. We're going to do negative 3 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus, what did I do wrong? No, I did it right. 2 minus a negative 3 squared. And when you put that in your calculator, what do you get? 7.07. 2 more, guys. 2 down, 2 to go. We're going to go C to D. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. It can. Michael, it can if you want it to be. All right, so we're going to go y2 is negative 1 minus a negative 3 squared plus 4 minus 2 squared. And we are going to get 2.83.
So what?
2.83. Okay. Next, we're going to do the last one. We're going to go D. That's y1. X2, y2. So we're going to go D to A. Gives us negative 1 minus 4 squared plus 4 minus a negative 1 squared. And that's going to give us 7.07. Okay, so we know AB is congruent to DA. That doesn't make sense. Oh, excuse me. AB is congruent to CD. And CD, BC is congruent to DA. So now that we've proved opposite sides are congruent, we've proved that there are 4 90-degree angles. Is this a rectangle, rhombus, parallelogram, or square? Rectangle. Make sure you have that at the end. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of these notes.